Gaming is trying to really find their footing because they also found an earlier split, losing to Obey Alliance as well. So both of these teams sitting pretty right now with that 1 point, but they need to find a way to really start separating themselves from the pack if they want to get into Valencia.
Would you say SoaR like seen as one of the top teams in North America, or the middle of the pack, or lower? Where are they kind of seated right now?
I'm kind of giving them that top 4 position here, like right behind Elevate potentially here. They haven't impressed me too much right now, but they need to really start getting some more consistent plays before I give them that top 3 position.
Sure, Zeus, Susana, Raven, and Chang'e banned away, which means Osiris slips through and straight into the hands of SoaR Gaming.
Not really surprised here as the picks and bans start going through that Chang'e is getting taken away. In the console scene, this Chang'e pick is highly favored considering that everyone's usually just loving to fight in the console scene, and you line up for that one big whack Samoon, all of a sudden you have multiple members stunned for just so long.
Completely agree. Thor, Capri, Thor drafted so early on. That's not something we see too often just lately.
Well, considering that the jungler hasn't been locked in for SoaR Gaming, maybe Starboys was afraid that SoaR was going to lock that in instead, taking that option away from them. Paired up with the Capri is going to allow the SoaR to play super aggressive in that back line.
Osiris and Wukong is interesting because they are both normally known as solo laners. Sun Wukong can support now and again. Osiris has supported very rarely, and we've seen some jungle Osiris, jungle Sun Wukong before, so it could be a situation where we see Osiris in the jungle here.
We're going to see as the game will eventually start, but Toth in the mid for SoaR, Starboys locking in that Isis. 2 of the most aggressive early game gods here. You're looking at Thor, you're looking at Isis. Starboys, I'm expecting them to start dictating the pace around that mid lane and start looking for some invades.
Well, Terra locked in, Terra banned away by Starboys, and now it's the last one for SoaR Gaming. Surprised we didn't see a Bellona pickup there.
No, not at all, and surprised to see Kurnos banned so late in this draft here. Starboys does have the next pick. They still need that Hunter, they still need that solo laner. Bellona does get banned, but there's several options instead. Athena gets locked in, and with an Athena and a Capri, looks like that's going to be a lot of peel here for this Isis.
So Isis Thor in the mid lane, nice control, nice early pressure, a lot of gank potential with Athena and Capri, survivability, sustain, and every single one of them bring a lot of CC to this table too. Starboy's composition is really solid in terms of CC and setup, and I think that's one of the reasons SoaR have drafted that Geb.
Absolutely, that cleanse is going to be so important for whoever gets taunted, because the Athena is going to be looking to set up this Isis Thor. Whether or not the Athena is, the Isis and Thor can set up for one or the other. So SoaR Gaming, they're going to need to start investing in some of these crowd control reduction items.
We're also seeing the Skadi locked in as well is interesting. It's not something we see too often just lately, but it can still make a good impact. Nice wave clear, good fight and box potential coming out from her, even though Calder is a little bit weaker than he used to be.
It doesn't have that immunity during the ultimate this time around, but still a risky pick considering how easy Thor can penetrate that backline, especially with a Capri, to be able to save him with that Scarab's Blessing. Normally, you kind of try to encourage somebody to dive you in the backline as a Skadi because of how much damage potential she has in her kit, and with Calder on top of this, but that Capri is just going to negate all of it.
No, I completely agree. It's going to be an awkward position now to see how this one starts out. Blink start from Medieval Doc on that Geb in the mid lane. So even though they've got a ridiculous amount of CC on the opposition team, I realize that you can see SoaR Gaming lack a little bit of hard initiation on their side, and I think that's one of the reasons why we see Medieval Doc start that.
Daily Dale trying to steal away some of these little ogre minions as finally Cameron making the rotation here. I like the just being an absolute little bug.
Annoyance more than anything else, but I love the fact that Ward placed on the left-hand side. Starboy's played this really well. Leave the Hunter in lane on his own. It means he'll get more experience on the lane on his own if there's no support with him. And having Daily Dale slow down Zaxi, it causes so many more problems for SoaR Gaming in the early stages, and that's why Starboys is starting to run away with the control of the map you see here. They've already stolen away speed buff on the right-hand side too, thanks to having Isis and Thor.
The problem is also the net worth here. Zaxi's going to start falling behind very quickly as the wave gets under her own tier 1 tower, because during this early level 1, level 2 play, Skadi can't fully clear the wave by herself, so she's going to allow it to get the wave under her tier 1 tower, lose that 75 gold of the melee minions, and then just clear out the archers, netting 54 instead.
Spirit Ball on Keeg's going to get the beads out, and Joey's going to come in there for a Berserker Barrage, thanks to the help of the double zap. That would have hit, that would have been a dead Keeg's mate in the mid lane for first blood.
Not able to find it, but pokes him out quite heavily, and this is not a position that you want to be as a mid laner, where your purification beads are on cooldown. A nice shield from Medieval Doc, and Joey Donut bit off more than he can chew.
He jukes it out. Medieval Doc can't find this on his own. Blinks in, gets the hit. One more auto attack with the speed buff saves him. And the hammer comes up. Joey Donut's gonna get away.
Oh, the blink gap, almost truly showing what he's capable of in the early game, but not able to find a Joey Donut. Doing a great job diving that tier 1 tower, but that shield from Medieval Doc. I like the fact that he instantly cancels his Berserker Barrage and starts trying to run away.
Realizing that he wasn't going to be able to get the kill because of the shield that's coming up, but you're doing no damage basically because that shield will prevent most of it. And surviving that, I love the decision that Joey made afterwards. You saw him pop the health potion, sit at the oracles waiting for his teammates from the dual lane to turn up. It allows him to sustain back up without having to return to base early on.
So unfortunate for Zaxi not being able to make that rotation, because sacrificing a wave this early in the game is so crucial. You don't want to fall too far behind your opposition here, especially against a ROM that's looking to make these mid to late game impacts.
When you talk about falling behind your opposition, Keegs, mate, in the mid lane, level 4 to the level 5 of Clow already. Clow back on one of his signature gods in the mid lane, the Isis. He's been known for it previously in the past, and he will be the focus point of most teams. They always used to like to focus Clow in the mid lane, and if Starboys can work around that, it plays to their strength.
He plays a lot of these interesting gods before in the past, whether it's the Isis, the Agni, the Jean Kui, even the Vulcan from time to time, and these gods can be focused quite heavily in the right circumstances, but SoaR Gaming getting the worst end of it thus far, as we saw Joey Donut just not stop pressuring Keegs. Medieval Doc needs to sit around this mid lane to make sure that the top gets to that nice comfortable spot.
It's scary that the Geb is ahead of the top in the mid lane right now. That just shows that Keegs has been a little bit out of position for some of the farm and a little bit worried about being all in, so he's had to play further back, which is slowing down this Toth in the early stages, and now there's a 2-level lead developed between him and Cloud.
Cloud just able to make these rotations for some of the buffs after clearing the mid wave, whereas Keegsmate is just sitting on that tier 1 tower, Girdle being popped for an early Gold Fury.
Yeah, early attempts, and then Joey Donuts takes to the sky too. He's going to go straight onto Doc, I expect if Doc looks for the blink in. Trying to time it right, and he does do so. Another Cataclysm comes out, but still, Circle of Protection comes into play. Starboys get the Gold Fury. Medieval Doc's one hit from death, the dot damage coming through, and the snipes from Cameron will pick up the kill.
Nice first blood coming out of Cameron, going to separate the gap even further against Zaxi. Net worth favoring him heavily after the Gold Fury, after that first blood. Ram is going to start working on that Ichabod and look for some trades, but on the right-hand side, despite the Gold Fury being started...
Flick's dead! Caden manages to pick him up. Caden was doing the blue buff alongside Stormy Rays, and Dr. Flick turned up to try and contest it, loses his life and the blue buff, and now potentially the speed too.
SoaR trying to get a little bit of an advantage. Speed buff does get stripped away. Caden gets pulled back in. He has his ultimate, needs to use it, will jump over the wall, and no ultimate for Joey Donut to catch him.
I mean, well, that blue buff did actually stay standing on the right-hand side after they picked the Athena kill, so all of the speed buff stolen there and a kill for Dr. Flick. It's not doom and gloom for SoaR, but they would have liked more if they could get it.
It made sense why Dr. Flick tried to contest that blue buff. He does have Hand of the Gods available, trying to secure his own blue buff. Guardians in the early game have very difficult time securing their own blue, recognizing that the junglers are always roaming around the opposite sides of the map, and that's what you really want out of your Athena, just to sit in lane and wait for the very clutch defender of Olympus's.
A little bit surprised by Caden there when he came across Daily Dale on that Kenshin. Sorry, on that Khepri, not on that Kenshin. On that Khepri. He had the ability just to wail away on him. He's got speed buff, he is a Cyrus too. What exactly is a Khepri going to do against you there?
Well,
not a lot.
Caden didn't have his ultimate. He had to use it to try to retreat after invading the speed buff. So it's a risk versus reward thing, because he doesn't necessarily know who is behind Daily Dale that could be lingering around. And if you get caught in the abduct, here comes a double tap, here comes a spirit ball, wing gust, and your life will just melt.
Melt in seconds. Wall of mid lane from Joey. Nice little shield again from Medieval Doc. A lot of talk about those shields today. They're going to be very important in this game. As are the silences from Cloud that just cancelled out there. The little knock-up coming out from Medieval Doc.
It's going to be important for Cloud to really find this silences on Medieval Doc, because the Geb shield will easily be focused out on everyone else, right? The focus might be into Keeks to start things up, but Starboys can start to shift their attention onto Medieval Doc before he gets these health and protections. We're looking at the build here, going for Lonos Max and the Traveler Shoes, not two items that necessarily will benefit you too highly during combat.
It's all about gold game with those two items, if anything else there. And talking about itemization, keep an eye on those hunters in the duo lane. Cameron on that Rama after getting that kill on the right hand, on the left hand side said earlier on, he's looking towards the Ick valve that should be finished relatively soon, whereas Zaxi going for the Transcendent to pick up here.
The physical power spike for Zaxi will be evident, but that's going to be in about 6 to 8 minutes from this point as he's going to be trying to build those stacks, whereas the Ichabod is going to be immediate, already finishing that off at the 7-minute mark, making his rotation back to the left-hand side. Both hunters sitting at level 9 could see some action relatively soon.
SoaR Game doing a much better job now of catching back up into this game after the deficit the Starboys put him in at the beginning. Now that the first couple of levels, the 1 through 3, which are the big telling points of a game, have gone to the wayside now, you can see the lead isn't as big as it could have been that Starboys have here.
Only about 1,000 here at the 7-minute mark due to that one Gold Fury. We see Stormy Rays finding a nice stun onto Daily Dale. Caden trying to follow up with a tether of his own. Medieval Doc gonna Cataclysm and knock off Lord of the Afterlife.
Beautiful combo. Daily Dale couldn't even get his ultimate off on himself. Meanwhile, the ultimate from downtown from Keeks making a quote for some pressure on, allowing Caden to get another kill. Clown now falls down. Dr. Flick isn't going to do a lick of damage, too much so to stop Stormy Rays and Medieval Doc from escaping, but maybe Cameron can.
Trying to find the snipes, misses out the first one. Second does connect. Stormy Rays falls 1 for 1 as Cloud does fall for Starboys, but picking up Stormy Rays was pretty effective. However, it was a 2 for 1 because Daily Dale did fall even before finding the Scarab's Blessing on himself. It was a great setup, finding the chain CCs, the Cataclysm blinked from the knockup. After that point, you just can't do anything as a support before you get that crowd control reduction items.
Nice work from Cameron, though, with these rotations. That's 2 kills he's got for himself. Both kills for Starboys have come from his snipes towards the end of the team fights, where he's just picked off the members of SoaR that were about to escape with the barest amount of health.
You could tell Cameron is just really aware of his surroundings. Being able to rotate from the dual lane all the way across the map shows how impactful it is for Starboys to stick together as a unit, utilizing some of their semi-global presence, whether it's Thor on Joey Donut or this Rom on Cameron.
And talking about semi-global presence, well, there's global presence out of Dr. Flick on this Athena, who started off with the Hand of the Gods this game, looking to try and secure his own buffs and put a bit more pressure on with that. And his lane opponent, Stormy Rays, began with the Sunder here. And notice what we see out of Stormy Rays and the Sun Wukong. He went Sunder, but do you notice how he's getting back to lane a little bit quicker here, Toli?
That Swift Wing, that 800 gold investment, it gives him more movement speed outside of the fountain. Cameron going to take a lot of damage. Ultimate from Zaxi does get popped. Cameron doesn't have lifesteal to be able to bounce back from this one, and he's really trying to stay in this lane phase for as long as he can. Zaxi's going to push it up a little further, but Cameron's going to back.
Yeah, he was already looking to back anyway there, Cameron. You could tell that, and that's when Zaxi initiated, but that forces him to probably lose a couple more minions in that late wave than he would like to. More than likely, though, we should see Joey Donut rotate in there to take up that farm.
Whether or not you die or you have to back from getting poked out, normally you want somebody to pick up the wave, but instead trying to min-max his time by securing that purple buff along with Daily Dale. Some of those minions will fall under the tower, but either way, now making the rotation here, as he did hit level 12 on Cameron's side of things, he wanted to back to pick up that very important Aegis Amulet, along with trying to get that tier 2 Executioner.
Well, the Portal Demon is now spawned on the left-hand side. Zaxi could be in trouble. No ultimate this time to escape, and that wall from Joey Donut is going to stop Zaxi's escape route out. Medieval Doc couldn't get it there in time to get a good shield off onto Zaxi, and even if he did, I still think Zaxi would have been dead. But Medieval Doc now rolling round. He could be in trouble too as the taunt lands onto him as well. The abduct straight after. The beautiful setup of Peel and CC control from Starboys is fantastic.
You could tell Joey Donut didn't want to teleport to that hammer because he knew that Cataclysm knockup was about to come right around the corner. Very clean pickoff onto both Zaxi and Medieval Doc because of how uncharacteristic of a god selection Zaxi selected for this Scotty. No escape means that the tectonic rip from Joey Donut will easily cut him alongside of any wall.
Starboy starting up the Gold Fury. Cameron continuing to tank it away. The fight is still going on right now. We can't see it on the screen because there's still engagements going on there as a frenzy's popped up by Starboys. Joey Donut's under a bit of pressure from Caden, but there's the circle of protection on the Gold Fury.
Less than 25% health into the sky. Stormy Rays landing down a little bit too late. Second Gold Fury going to Starboys. Gebshill going to save his life for a little bit. Cameron in the sky trying to find the snipes, but it's not going to matter. No one's too low enough.
No, Caden still wants to give chase, but still the Sunder going to miss too. Final judgment from Keeks is being charged for a second there, but he's just too far out of range to impact it, and Starboys do everything perfect. And they secure the gold and they get out without losing lives.
And there's no buffs for SoaR Gaming to strip away, and it's not that important for them to go for this tier 1 tower because there could be a portal demon right around the corner instead.
And I think that's the call from SoaR here, trying finance about that second Gold Fury with a Portal Demon. That's generally what seems to happen between the teams. Starboy's not really in a position to defend this just yet, and he should be down before Dr. Flick turns up. At the end of the day, and Athena's not very good at securing these unless she gets very lucky.
But the Hog is available. The taunt trying to reset it for the moment here. Portal will go to SoaR Gaming, but at what cost? Losing Medieval Doctor to start things off. No mana on the side of Kading, having to retreat on the right, while Stormy Ray's retreating in the mid.
Credit where it's due to Dr. Flick there. That taunt actually paid off big for them because it slowed SoaR down enough for him to get a kill. Now they steal away the speed buff, which works out more in their favor. Don't know what SoaR Gaming were messing around at the Gold Portal Demon like that for. They could have just killed it instantly. Instead, they were kind of watching Athena and like going, when are you going to attack Athena? Instead of just killing it.
It just took a little bit of too long. I guess they really respected that Hand of the Gods potential. Joey Dunn going to land down onto Zaxi yet again. No escape on the Scotty. Getting really taken advantage of in the early game. And every single death here on the Scotty delays the farm. Being able to stack up that very important Transcendence.
Just the extra power spec you'll get from that. Now Starboys get a tier 1 tower on the left-hand side. First tower of the game to fall, and that's surprisingly enough when you look at how low SoaR Gaming have got that right-hand side tier 1 of Starboys.
Giving a 2-level advantage to Cameron on this ROM. 4-0-1. Almost 100% kill participation, which is pretty surprising out of your Hunter. Normally you see this kind of style out of your jungler, support, mid laner that's usually making these rotations every which way, but for the Hunter to do it means that he's escalating his team in these mid to late game team fights. This ROM is going to start melting objectives. There's a girdle on the side of Daily Dale, the circle of protection from Cloud, and now you're going to have this late game attack speed damage from Cameron.
Yeah, the biggest thing SoaR Gaming has got an issue with here has always been the engage in this game. They're relying just on Medieval Doc to really go in here to initiate the fight, or let Starboys bring the fight to them first of all. The problem is that they are currently waiting for Starboys to bring the fight to them here, Tolly. And by the time they try and reinitiate and turn this fight around, they've normally lost 1 or 2 members.
Not able to really find anything except that tier 1 tower on the right side for Stormy Rays. Kading gonna get pulled back in with a nice abduct. Daily Dale getting stunned out by Keegsmate, not getting him in the right position that he wanted to allow Dr. Flick to hit the enemy with that Defender of Olympus.
Yeah, there's just a tether that came into play there from Kading. Helped out so much to stun him in place, stop the follow-up. So for 14 minutes in now, 9 kills in this game, 6-3, gold lead of just under 3,000 in favor of Starboys here. Experience a bit of a different story, 4,500. This is mainly, I believe, Zaxi versus Cameron, I want to say, just based off how far behind Zaxi now is, based off the ganks he's had multiple times. When he's tried to box, he's been put behind too, and the jungle has been consistently stripped from him on top of that.
Look where Cameron is. He tried to get a wave in between that tier 1 and between where the tier 1 used to be and the tier 2 now. Barely able to escape the clutches coming out of Kading that was looking to gank right around that corner, but a nice little sentry ward coming from Starboys between the purple and the red.
I'm looking at SoaR Gaming here, and all 3 of their kills are actually all on the same individual right now, which is Kading. Is that a bad thing to have them all on the Osiris?
Not necessarily. The problem is that they're not able to capitalize with any additional objectives after the kills. We see him only sitting at level 11, whereas Joey Donut sitting pretty at level 12, even had enough time to back and pick up a second relic, which is going to be that teleport relic, trying to min-max.
Yeah, and the one thing I saw on the left-hand side there is once again Zaxi loses out on that purple buff trade, which means a little bit more experience denied for him too. And yeah, that teleport going onto the Thor, it does allow him to get back to the fight again relatively early after initiating for the team.
We could see a lot of interesting mechanics here by Joey Donut teleporting with Dr. Flick using that Defender of Olympus as well for double rotation to a team fight if necessary, considering that Dr. Flick doesn't have a teleport as he went for the Hog instead. This means that Joey Donut is relying on the escape from Daily Dale Scarab's Blessing, considering he doesn't have the Aegis.
Well, Starboys managed to steal away the speed buff and the purple so far, and also got the ultimate out of Stormy Rays there. Zaxi being pressured in the mid lane by Cloud, who's still only level 13 right now. Both the mid laners are the lower end of most of the players in the game as it stands between these two. Obviously, you expect supports to be behind, but the junglers are both equal level at 12, with their second relic waiting to come through for Cade.
Just not worried at all is Starboy, sitting pretty here, still looking for a flank potential here. We see Flick on the right, Joey Donut on the left, but he did back currently. Gold Fury has respawned.
I like what you were going to say then. You got confused with the words because I do that too. Joey Donut, Doey Jonah.
Yeah, Doey Jonah.
Let's call him Doey Jonah.
Doey Doe.
Doey Jonah. This sounds like such a better name. He should change it. We've made multiple box members change their name before. The console players before have changed their names off things. I'm pretty sure Dr. L was called Dr. Little Cabes or something like that once upon a time.
That was me.
And then changed it down to Dr. L because we just kept shortening it. Yeah. Doey Jonah sounds great. It sounds so much more interesting than Joey Donut.
What if we just call him 82? Is he going to change his name to 82?
Do you reckon his surname really is Donut? Imagine his surname was Donut.
Nah,
Good day, Mr. Donut. How are you?
He just likes donuts. His name is Joe, and he was born in 1982.
Okay, he's older than me then. That's crazy. I don't think anyone would be older than me in the esports world. Who would do that? 6-3 is the scoreline, and the kills are still in favor of Starboys. Portal Demon started up by Starboys here. Gold Fury is available as well. Only Stormy Rays on this right-hand side looking to contest it. Stolen away by the circle of protection more often than not, stopping Stormy Rays from even getting that Jingu bang off. A nice small free win yet again.
750 gold for Starboys very cleanly, but they expose a small window for SoaR Gaming to maybe get this Gold Fury, but able to contest it in the backline yet again, forcing out the purification beats from Zaxi and the ultimate. A nice stun from Keegs made, and nowhere to go for Doey Jonut.
No, he's down. Stormy Rays is in trouble on the front side too. Still trying to juke out to the best of his ability. He had his Sun Cloud available, but couldn't jump to it because he was still firing abilities off. So it makes it a 2-for-1. And 2 tanks on the front line for SoaR Gaming are down. Means that they can't really do much here. They're going to have to just back away.
Starboys really taking advantage of just the distraction that Joey was able to implement in the backline from SoaR Gaming. Zaxi was forced to use that purification beads and his ultimate, which allows Cameron to make this kind of a aggressive play with this 3-level lead, having Fatalis to follow up. There's not much that Zaxi can do, which is why he even went for the shifter shield, trying to get some more defenses when he does get under that 50% threshold, which will be the case more often than not this game.
I love what Cameron chose to do there as well, because he had that Fatalis online. He knew if he could just, all he had to do was land those basics. After the roll, if he continued to land the basics, Zaxi would never have got away, because the Fatalis would have given the ability to continue to chase and eventually just ult him down, force the Aegis at least.
And the Astral Arrows does slow you, so not only are you gaining movement speed, you're slowing the enemy's movement speed as you stack up those Astral Arrows. The slow just continues to stack on up. So without the purification beads, Zaxi surely would have been dead. Finally able to finish off his Transcendence stacks. Now looking to get some penetration online.
Well, SoaR Gaming were probably the favorites coming into this one right now, but it's all been pretty much all Starboys all game so far. A lot of that does come down to the picks and bans based off the fact that SoaR Gaming don't really have much initiation and are kind of letting Starboys come onto them right now. Gold Fury for the 3rd time could be looked at here by Starboys, with Cloud turning up and having that circle of protection ready.
And I love how Cloud was building this utility ISIS, going for the Dynasty Plate Helmet and this Jade Emperor's Crown, but it's actually Medieval Dog caught in a lot of trouble. He's going to get taunted back into it.
But he's actually going to just bring along Caldeir for a second, who is now dead, and the ultimate down for Zaxi. Still 4 ultimates available for SoaR Gaming, and Keegs may challenge that one. As a good calculation from Medieval Dog sets up Caden for the kill. Final Judgment came through, but didn't do much work, and Cloud Aegis and avoided the he got off that as well. Still alive is Cloud for a second until Keegs comes into play, and Joey comes in looking for the pickup of Caden. We'll find it.
Finally a 2-for-1 here. Starboys not getting the better end of that one, and Joey Donut going to fall as well here momentarily. 3-for-1. SoaR looking pretty strong here. Stormy Rays barely able to go to the sky. Lands back down onto 2. Dr. Flick gets taken out. It's only Cameron alive. Keegs looks for it, but it's Zaxi finding it for the Deicide.
That's such a big fight for SoaR Gaming, because they were really behind before that happened. And with the Gold Fury standing and a Deicide, this is going to be a big gold swing here, Tolly. They can even look at the tier 1 tower in the mid lane too, and I think that's what Keeg is about to go and do.
The problem that I'm seeing out of Starboys was Daily Dale constantly getting focused in these team fights to start things off. He gets a Blink Cataclysm knocked up, Lord of the Afterlife to follow up, and even after all that goes through, he dies even before getting off his ultimate for the 2nd time this game, allowing SoaR Gaming to get back into this game, securing themselves the first Gold Fury of the game, their own tier 1 mid tower, and cutting this deficit.
I will say Daily Dale is playing this as a very aggressive Capri. He's doing a lot of abducts to initiate these team fights sometimes, and I almost think that now that he's realized he is the focal point, if he just sits back on the back line alongside the Isis, alongside the Rama, he's going to be able to peel for them instead. Thor's doing a lot of work, Joey Donut's doing great work, and they've still got Dr. Flick too that can be on the front line.
It's going to be Kenshin then. Remember how Kenshin got the Stone of Gaia the last set? I think Daily Dale needs to do the same exact thing here to prevent that knockup after the Cataclysm, because every single time that hang time of the knockup just allows too much follow-up damage here, and he can't really survive.
Well, now at 20 minutes in, the gold is absolutely even, as are the kills between the two teams. Experience maybe a little bit different, but looking at it down, it's pretty close still at just under 50, or just over 1,500 now as one more tick of experience comes through.
Zaxi now getting in a comfortable spot as these team fights will start favoring out SoaR Gaming here. Despite all the crowd control from Starboys, they're not able to really catch anyone slipping or out of position from SoaR Gaming. SoaR has just been doing a great job sticking together as a unit, not giving any holes to poke through.
And fact of the matter is where Zaxi's been in this game and the focus he's had on him, he's done a good job of continuing to survive. Only died twice. When you think about how much pressure he's had onto him, he's still 2 levels behind that of Cameron though, and that's where most of that experience lead for Starboys is.
Now only with a 1 level deficit, Joey Donut in the sky, sees 2 right underneath. The duck is good onto the Osiris, but it's the blink cataclysm onto 3. Following up is Stormy Rays, Caden or Keysmate as well, doing a little bit of poke here. Thunder's not on the mark, and Cloud relying on this defender of Olympus to get him into safety.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about Medieval Doc initiating there, Toli. I like the initiation, he hit 4 people. There was no one to follow up from that initiation. Keegsmake wasn't in position, neither was Zaxi. The only one he had alongside him there was Stormy Rays, but how much is Sun Wukong going to do against the whole team? Not that much.
But forced out a couple of relics here in the team fight. Joey Donut taking a chunk of his health after that 1 stun, already sitting almost at 50% health. This could give SoaR Gaming a slight window to try to go for this Portal Demon. A lot of DPS here from Zaxi and Kaldir.
And that's the one quiet member on this team right now for SoaR Gaming is Keegsmate. Not died yet in this game. Damage output isn't the biggest thing to write home about, but his penetration and his build, he's going to be swinging as time goes on here, especially if that's going to be a Roller Tahuti next, which it more than likely will be.
Fully stacked up Doom Orb, 140 magical power, Spear of Desolation for that 20 magical penetration, and once this rod that you mentioned has been complete, will truly dictate this team fight.
Dale in trouble, ducks in place because he gets picked by Medieval Doc, looking for his ultimate on himself if he can find it. No, ultimate is down, so Daily Dale's a free pick. No one on Starboys in range to get him right, and there's a big old stump from Keegsmate. Joey Donut forced to hammer away and gets stuck to flicks up, but he still picks up the kill. Keegsmate from downtown.
Final judgment, final death here from Joey Donut right before the Portal Demon gets secured here from SoaR Gaming. Nice, confident play out of Keegs to put himself slightly out of position.
In the sky right now, I thought I saw Joey Donut go, but no, it was Cameron looking for the snipe steal, but didn't find it. Portal Demon goes to SoaR Gaming, and Stormy Rays was keeping Flick in combat, and Clow, and it's Flick the one in an awkward spot now. Taunts to try and buy room to charge away, and will live to fight another day, unless Zaxi has something to say about it. He's still trying to run him down.
Trying to find the kill. He doesn't have the fatalities. He needs to connect on some of these shots. Can't really
Zaxi's
find the Medieval
position.
Doc has blink. He could look for it through the tier 2, but it doesn't matter. Caden finds it with the flail.
And luckily enough for Zaxi there, Cameron couldn't get the damage off in time, and luckily Caden Stormy Rays comes to the rescue. Cloud coming around the corner, but a little bit too late to slow them down. Spirit Ball does connect with Medieval Doc, who jukes into it, but there's not a whole lot of damage that Geb's going to eat from an Isis at this point.
Just not worried at all. Heartwood Amulet finished, Gauntlet of Thieves to boot, the magical protection, and the health pool is there. Not only that, having a lot of out-of-combat regen between both the Sovereign team and those Traveler Shoes. Now looking to build that Mad Guy's Blessing after selling his Lona's Mask.
Definitely an even game approaching 25 minutes now. Got Fury down for another 38 seconds, and then that's when we could see some interesting decisions coming out from both teams, as Fire Giant will be available at the same time. It's not too many members to one side, the other side will take the other objective.
Very close game thus far. One Gold Fury goes to SoaR. The last one, Starboys gets the earlier 2, but as the game progresses, those later stages Gold Furies become slightly more valuable, so that's why we see SoaR Gaming get that comfortable gold lead despite getting 1 less Gold Fury.
Yeah, it's all about trying to farm up to the best of your ability right now. In mid lane, Cloud's starting to slip behind in terms of actual experience here, Toli. Is this just because of how the fights have been rolling?
It's just not in his favor, despite going for this defensive mindset here. He goes for the Dynasty Plate Helmet and the Jade Emperor's Crown, which is not a bad idea here, but in order to utilize the aura of reducing your physical power by 30, you have to stand within 55 units, and if you're going to be that close to the opposition, you're going to take quite a bit of poke.
Well, Cloud's going to take quite a bit of poke here as the taunt comes into play from Flick, trying to set up Stormy Rays and Caden, but Cloud is the one being chased down. They don't care about anybody else. Caden's trying to beat down the chicken as quick as possible, as his own chicken in the background is looking for the final judgment to come through. He might be out of range, but Cloud is now still alive, thanks to a great ult from Daily Dale that gets him away.
Final
still
judgment.
Kaden is after Joey Donuts.
Cloud taken out by Keegsmate. Great first pick. Joey Donut trying to run away, but he can't run away from the Broken God. Medieval gonna get ducked back in, so at least responding with one kill of their own, but getting collapsed on.
Geb dying there is fine because he kept them around long enough for them to find a kill in response. But stun hits from Keegs. Oh, he didn't. We could have seen another dismal kill there for SoaR Gaming's favor as a tier 2 now going to fall on top of that. And SoaR Gaming using this to their advantage. Their team fights are getting stronger.
1 for 3 allows them to now go for this Fire Giant here. They have the Sentry Vision control that they really need to, but not going to play too risky here. Still a very close game here. It's only Cameron right around the corner, but they don't have that vision between that solo and mid lane around that funnel spot.
Do you know what, Tully? I think if they would have had a little bit more vision in the jungle or had eyes on Cameron with low mana and Dr. Flick and actually kept an eye on the cooldowns too, they could have taken Fire Giant for free there.
Absolutely, I would totally agree with you, especially with the level 19 Scotty having so much penetration here with his Jotun's Wrath on top of the Titan's Bane, which absolutely melts this late game Fire Giant that has quite a bit of physical protection. But either way, I like to see them still play rather safe than sorry. They could just wait for Medieval Doc to start reviving here, and in these team fights has been favoring out Starboys. They're always able to really just capitalize on either Daily Deal or Cloud in these team fights.
The biggest problem that they're having now is that SoaR Gaming are getting tankier. You know, they've got an Osiris, they've got a Sun Wukong, they've got a Geb. The Geb's giving shields to both those two, and Zaxi and Keegs, it's very tricky to get to them in the backlines now. Joey Donut did a great job of it in the early game, Toli, but now that the team fights are here, the tankiness of the front line is causing them so many problems.
It's also Kaden that's just being an absolute nuisance. Now going to get abducted for a little bit. The Tether going to reduce some of the damage, and looking at his build here, he has the Masamune, and he just wants to engage in the backline.
Just look at the amount of engagement that was used there onto Kaden to try and bring him down. You can see even the ultimate from Joey Donut and every ability from all 4 of those characters around there was used to try and bring him down outside of the ultimates, and yet Kaden lived.
It's just very difficult because not only is this Osiris getting more defenses as he uses his abilities, but if you get him under 50% health, all of a sudden that Shifter Shield passive is going to start taking into effect, where he gets a huge boost of both physical and magical protections. Not only that, the closer you are to him, the Masamune is going to start taking into effect with that passive, and then the Tether is going to not only try to stun you out, but mitigate all that damage on top.
I'm looking at Cameron's build here, and Toli, is that the latest Devourer's Gauntlets in the history of the world? Or are we going to see an item we don't see very often?
I think it will be the Blood Forge coming out of this Ramen. Joey Donut getting caught in a bad spot. No ultimate. Might have to rely on Daily Deal for that Scarab's Blessing. Does give him the mobility that he needs to run away.
Yeah, he's going to get away, but Stormy Ray still wants to give chase, and Keegs around the left-hand side with maybe Medieval Doc trying to flank. And they could actually trap the 4 members of Starboys who are still alive here. They're keeping him busy enough, though, so SoaR Gaming can start the Portal Demon.
Joey Donut gets a little bit of health return from those back harpies off of the Bumba's Mask, but not going back into it quite yet. Final Judgment was used. The Portal Demon goes down to SoaR in the backline. Joey Donut trying to find a kill. He comes back into it, but not able to find the stun.
SoaR Gaming immediately disengage after getting the Portal Demon, which I think is the wisest thing for them to do, because now they can go back to base, buy some items, go back through the portal if they want as a whole squad, and cause problems for Starboys who still have to defend.
But has to be careful about who goes through the portal first. It needs to be that Medieval Doc playing that Geb, as he is the tankies here. Even having that Mad Guy's Blessing to start up this Fire Giant right around the corner is Dr. Flip on the top-hand side. Can't possibly see some of these particles.
After the last little fight we saw, the Portal Demon, Starboys didn't contest it very well at all, so I think that's why SoaR are investing in the Fire Giant. Caden's very, very low here, though, has no ultimate to escape that, but he bought enough time for his team to have the Fire Giant stolen away by Starboys.
Starboys, they get the Fire Giant, but they lose 2. Dr. Flick, Joey Donut, and Cloud 3 for 1. Kaden doing a great job zoning the members that actually matter.
So
Cameron.
3 members went in the Fire Giant, 3 members managed to secure it. Now in mid lane, they're diving in for Daily Dale to at least try and cause more problems for them. Daily Dale's getting chased down by the dog, and maybe Caldera will get the kill. No, Kepri secures his own life until Stormy Rays takes it away from him.
Still, only 1 member. Cameron finding Stormy Rays just too far away from his teammates because of himself committing onto that Kepri support. But tier 2 does fall. SoaR Gaming able to get themselves another 1,500 gold. Now grouped up still in that tier 2 tower, but not wanting to commit because there's 3 members that are about to revive in less than 10 seconds.
They could still swing around to the left-hand side and look for some towers here. They've got no real minions with them. And I think that's one of the reasons Cameron's now following them through. He has Fire Giant, going to try and delay the back out of Zaxi if that teleport is the enemy, and it is. Joey Donuts was looking for the cleanup early on. Early Aegis, and now Dr. Flick will get with a kill with Joey Donuts in tow. Zaxi's lazy back costs him.
And Dr. Flick just taunting away. The relic selection from Joey Donut shows just the coordination that Starboys really wanted with that Defender of Olympus. They died at the same time. They come back into the action at the same time.
So tier 1 tower falls down for Starboys to answer back some of the gold lead, reducing it to just under 5,000, just over 5,000. Now to the right-hand side as well. So it's all about getting these towers with this man advantage here, Tolly.
That's right. 30 seconds longer for Zaxi to make the comeback here. And he's been making a pretty efficient comeback despite himself being 3 levels behind Cameron for a large portion of the game. Now sitting at 7, 3, and 8. But he's so defensively minded here. Not only did he go for a shifter shield early on, but he has his void shield to get some more penetration to allow Stormy Race and Kaden the oomph that they need as well.
Well, 4v5 still for a while. There's that 1,600 damage hit onto Cameron on that Rama. Wasn't enough to kill him. It wasn't enough to stop the tier 2 tower falling down, but it is enough for Starboys to say, okay, let's not continue.
It's a flashy damage numbers there. Whenever you can get any ability to cross that 4-digit marker, you got to capitalize off of that, trying to chase that down. But it was a 5-on-4. Zaxi hasn't revived yet.
And funny enough, Keegs, we were talking about him probably going for Ratatouille next. He didn't go for Ratatouille. He went for Chronos Pendant. That's an expensive build. That is really, really expensive build. Spirit Desolation, Chronos Pendant's expensive, so is Ratatouille. Add them all together, it's a hell of a lot of damage, Tolly, but it is really expensive to get to that point.
It's saying about 9,000 gold collectively between those 3 items here. 2,600 for Spirit of Desolation, around 28, I want to say, for that Chronos Pen, and Ratatouille sitting around 33. So, yeah, this late game build certainly paying off for Keegsmake, especially considering he has 0 devs, allowing his Doom Orb to just sit pretty at that 50 stack. The magical power from this top is just through the roof.
Definitely, and that's why he did so much damage to Cameron straight up there, who had the Fire Giant. In the skies, Joey Donut got to come in onto Medieval, who eats most of the damage there. Stormy Ray's looking to just retreat on the Sun Wukong. As he is poked down, he won't want to use the ultimate if he can help it, but it does give Starboys the positional advantage at the Gulf here, and they're not going for it here. They're just continuing to farm up the mid lane on the left.
And normally whenever you poke out a soul laner that heavily, you're expecting him to come back into the team fight anyway, but look at that relic selection. He doesn't have teleport. He has the Sunder and the Thorns. Really wants to be a nuisance in the backline. Finally, Starboy is going to start up this Gulf here. He's sitting at about 50% health, not fully committing to it.
Blick, Cataclysm from Medieval Dog to slow them down. Gulf Fury goes down, and now the fight is continuing to engage potentially there. Stall Gaming. I'm not actually sure. Can we go to the grass? Because I can't tell you who got that one, honestly. I'm not sure which one it was. It was actually Stall Gaming.
Able to steal that one away from Starboys.
Medieval
great engage. The Blink Cataclysm knockup just disrupting the DPS that Starboys wanted. But honestly, it doesn't really matter. You're looking at a 34-minute game with this kind of a deficit. You're just waiting for that next team fight, because once 2 or 3 members fall, that's going to be the next Fire Giant, and those are going to be some Phoenixes to follow up.
Portal Demon is about to spawn any second now, and that's why Starboys are already in position to start tanking it up. And with Clow on zone duty here, Clow's a little bit out of position as Stormy Race is looking in, but he's got Dr. Flick coming in. Joey Donuts could come down too if need be, but as soon as the Sun Cloud is used, Joey Donuts will hold his ult and go elsewhere.
Joey Donut forced to retreat on the right-hand side. Kaden looking to chase down Dr. Flip. Gonna force out that dash. Nice wall from Joey Donut, and does deter away Kaden.
But the Pole Demon is still alive, and the Fire Giant is about to spawn in 15 seconds time. SoaR Gaming start the Pole Demon up. Ward coverage is in their favor for a moment. Now fully in their favor because the wards have been cleared, but Starboys have eyes on this Pole Demon.
Joey Donut around the corner here, looking for the right target, but being that far north, he's only going to find Stormy Rays or Kaden Medieval Doc, these tanky targets.
Remember, Dr. Flick does have that Hand of the Gods too. Bad news is Daily Dale got pinned off from the whole of his team thanks to Joey's wall, and now Joey has to jump over the wall to safety, but now it's a 4v5 for free.
Not able to get off his own ultimate. That's the 3rd time Daily Dale this game couldn't find the Scarab's Blessing on himself. In the sky is Cameron trying to find the snipes, connects
too early
onto Zaxi and the Portal Demon for a little bit of poke.
And the Portal Demon falls down, goes the way of SoaR Gaming, and now the initiation's on. Joey's very, very low. Great Cataclysm out of Medieval Doc there to secure 1 kill for Stormy Rays, and Keegsmake makes Cloud disappear. It was like a magic trick, that
Just a magic trick. Cloud gets absolutely Cloud manipulated by Kingsmate. Nowhere to go but the graveyard. That's 3 picks that SoaR Gaming were able to rack on in there, and that should easily spell them this Fire Giant.
Yeah, the Fire Giant definitely available for them, but Flick is coming around the corner here, and he has Hand of the Gods available on this Athena. Bad news is he stepped on a ward first of all, and I think SoaR Gaming recognise he's got that Hand of the Gods too, so that's why they're poking him down. Flick going to actually use his ultimate and head back to base, which surrenders the Fire Giant to the whole of SoaR Gaming.
And that could be the first step that SoaR Gaming needed. This whole game, SoaR Gaming was playing from behind relatively, but
Keegs
finally, Keegs with the player damage here, but you're actually looking at the damage out of Cameron here, surprisingly enough. 32,000. He's really been able to take advantage of it, but the rest of his team not following up.
Not gonna lie, Cameron's early game with those ultimates from Rama set Starboys in good stead, because by securing those kills on the tail end, it allowed them to go for objectives. It allowed them to get a bit more freedom on the map that created a bit of a lead for themselves. But Kingsmate hasn't done a whole lot more damage than anybody else here, a little bit more than Cloud. They're pretty consistent. What he has done though, he's not died, which means he's been consistently a threat on the map the entire time, putting out damage overall, just keeping Starboys at bay.
It's just SoaR Gaming capitalizing on people from Starboys that are out of position. Daily Dale has been the #1 target, and then the second target was Cloud. And these two gods specifically are not your typical gods that are going to be dying very often in these team fights. There's a lot of defensive kits or in their utility belt that they could just pull on out there. That circle of protection is one important one, and the Scarab's Blessing just hasn't been on point for Daily Dale.
Well, Tier 2 towers, the final tower of the game that Starboys had standing, and they can't really defend against a full Fire Giant team, so I understand they're waiting at their Phoenixes. The problem is that the Phoenixes, Tolly, their wave clear isn't the greatest.
No, not at all, but they could utilize the crowd control that they have, because as long as the team fights last a little bit longer here, Starboys could start absorbing or allowing these Phoenixes to do extra damage, but there's an Emperor's Armor on both sides here to try to negate each other out.
And they will do that, in fact, as well. Cloud, though, still hanging around in mid lane. He's having a troublesome game here. 0-5-6. He's been consistently focused in this game, which has made it a tricky position for him to be in right now.
And going for this utility build, now going for the Rod of Tahuti. In the sky is Joey Donut trying to land in the backline. He's looking for Keeks potentially, but Dr. Flip's already dead almost.
He just got out in time, but Caden will clean him up, and Kingsmate evaporates Joey Donut. Cameron in the sky looking to deal a bit of damage with those snipes, but when he lands, he's going to run for his life because Caden's on his face once more. Ultimate in place, he's going to keep him pinned for a second, so the beads and ages come into play. Cloud being pinned down by Caldera as well as the Phoenix falls on the left-hand side, and SoaR Gaming rotates straight towards the middle Phoenix.
Still having Fire Giant for another minute and a half. Cloud missing out the stun onto Keeks. Made the damage from this mid-mage is just doing quite a bit here in this late game. 39 minutes in, and Cameron having to roll back into his own fountain just to get some more health. This right side Phoenix, last one to go for Starboys.
It is, and now what can SoaR Gaming do? Do they fall back to base here, wait for the minions? It looks like that's going to be the call here, Tully.
Well, Fire Giant's still around their waist for another minute and 10 seconds. They could easily back and look to control more of the map as these fire minions are starting to flood on in. And this is going to force Starboys in this tricky situation where which lane do we defend? Obviously, we have to give up Fire Giant because if we leave our base for too long, the fire minions will just take out our Titan anyway. So SoaR Gaming playing extra safe.
So with the start of this game, Starboys, like we said, they got off to a great start with the composition they've got. So would we want them to see go for the same sort of composition next game, Tolly, up against SoaR Gaming, or would you like to see some adjustments at all?
I don't mind their composition. I just feel like they were a little sloppy and not prepared for SoaR Gaming's aggression. The initiations from Medieval Doc on the Blink Cataclysm knockups have been the turning point to allow SoaR Gaming the surprise factor that Starboys were just not prepared for.
Yeah, I also want to take into account that if you're going to take this much CC on a team, banning Geb is a wise idea, because one of the best things to deal with a lot of CC is a Geb shield that will just save you at the clutch moment where you don't have beads up, and also give you a lot more survivability in tow.
Not only that, just remember the aggression from Joey Donut at level 3 as he tried to dive the tier 1 tower onto Keeksmate. Cloud was actually 2 levels ahead of Keeksmate in that early game, but it was that one nice little clutch shield to save his mid-mage's life, not allowing that first blood to go through.
Do you want to see Joey continue this aggression that he's showing right now, engaging onto Zaxi as a shield once again from Doc comes out. Joey's very, very low, and Keegs will clean him up nice and quickly. Good top from Flick to cancel out the final judgment for the time being, but that doesn't mean it's over yet. Final judgment channeled, and Daily Dale loses half his health. Make that all his health thanks to the help of Stormy Rays.
Doc available. Cameron rolling backwards, trying to survive, but Keegsmate trying to find the stun. Not on the mark. mark onto Cloud as he's going to go into the fountain in the sky. Stormy Rays going to go back into it along with Kaden in the first game, going SoaR's way.
Yeah, also not all SoaR's way. I was about to say all SoaR's way, but not really. The early game is not the story.